Hi, and welcome to this lesson on methods in Java. Until now, we have had a look at the basic program elements in Java, the usage of variables and arrays, and the usage of conditional statements and operators. As a part of this lesson, we will understand what methods in Java are. We will look at the format of writing a method and the different types of methods. Let us get started. Let us have a quick refresher of whatever we have covered in the earlier lessons. Variables are used to store and work with data like numbers, characters, etc. Each variable holds a single unit of data. Arrays are used to hold a group of data together. Conditional statements like if else, and if else if are used to check a certain condition and execute a certain part of the code accordingly. Loops, namely while, do while, and for, are used to repeat a certain code for a certain number of times based on a condition. So, what are methods now? A method is a block of code that does a specific task and has got a name to identify it. The method can be made use of whenever needed by using its name. Every Java example that we have seen so far has a class and a main method. The main method is the entry point from where the execution of the program begins. Until now, we have had a look at examples in which all the lines of code that we wrote were present inside the main method. Let us have a look at what other possibility is possible. If we look at the example here, there is a class with the name displayMessage method, and there are two methods. A main method which runs from lines 5 to 10, and another printMessage method that runs from lines 13 to 17. The main method is the entry point from where the execution of the program begins. So, the program execution starts at line number 7, and the code prints in the main method program execution begins. Following this, as a part of line 8, we are calling the printMessage method. So what happens now is the code which is present inside the printMessage method gets executed, which is the line number 16. As a part of this, in the printMessage method gets displayed on the screen. Once all of the lines inside the printMessage method are executed, the code continues from the next line in the main method, which is line number 9. So, back to the main method gets printed. As a part of this program, we have written another printMessage method in addition to the main method, and we have made use of the name of the method to execute the code inside it. Let us walk through the example once again with the text. A method is a block of code which is written to perform a certain task. There are two methods here, namely the main method and another printMessage method. For now, let us ignore the use of words like public and static. The main method is the entry point, thus the code execution begins from line number 7 and the message is printed onto the output. As a part of line 8, we are making a call to the printMessage method, and thus all the code which is present inside the printMessage is executed, which is the line 16. Once the code inside the message is executed, the control returns back to the next line in the main method, and line number 9 gets executed. Once this line gets executed, the program execution ends. If you observe here, as a part of line 8, what happens is, before the line 8, all the statements inside the main get executed one after the other. On reaching this line, all of the lines inside the printMessage method are executed, and once this is done, the code which is present in the next line of the main method gets executed and the program execution continues from there. If you observe, as a part of line number 13, we have written a keyword void. The void here indicates that the print message method does not give back any data to the main method. We will discuss more in detail on this as a part of further slides. Now let us look at another example of methods in Java. If we look at the code here, we have a class with the name SumMethod, and there are two methods, namely the main, which runs from lines 4 to 9, and another calculateSum, which runs from lines 12 to 16. As we all know, the main is the entry point of the program, and thus program execution begins from the main method. And as a part of line 6, we are creating two integer variables, namely a and b, that have the values 10 and 20. As a part of line 7, we are creating a third integer variable of the name result, and we are assigning a value to it. But the value is a call to the calculateSum method. As a part of calculateSum, within the parenthesis, we are sending the values of a and b. What happens here is, we are sending the values of a and b to the calculateSum method. The calculateSum method, if you observe in line number 12, has two variables, num1 and num2. The values of a and b are copied to num1 and num2. The calculateSum method receives these values, performs some calculations on them. In the example here, we are creating another variable called sum as a part of line 14 and assigning the sum of the variables num1 and num2 to it. And we are using a keyword return to return this value to the main method. Thus, the value of sum, which is obtained from the calculateSum method, is assigned to the variable result in line number 7. Following this, the line number 8 is executed and the sum of numbers is followed by the sum is printed on the output. Let us walk through the code again with the text. Methods can also receive data from the main method, perform operations on the data received, and send back a result to the main method. This is one such example wherein we are receiving two values from the main method and sending back a value to the main method. In the example, as a part of line 6, two integer variables a and b are created and the values 10 and 20 are assigned to them. The line 7 makes a call to the calculateSum method and sends the values of a and b, which is indicated inside the parenthesis. The value of a gets assigned to the variable num1 and the value of b gets assigned to the variable num2 as a part of line 12. The sum of both these variables is calculated and stored in the integer variable sum. As a part of line 15, the value of this sum is returned using the keyword return to the variable result in the main method. And as a part of line 8, this is printed. As a part of line 8, the value of result gets displayed onto the output. Now, this is an example of a method that accepts two integers and returns an integer to the main. If you observe the difference between examples 1 and 2, as a part of example 1, we did not send any data to the other method, and the other method did not send back any result to the main method. But as a part of example 2, we have data being sent from the main and also being received to the main. The variables num1 and num2 are also called as parameters that are passed from the main method, and because we are returning a variable of type integer here, the return type of the calculateSum method is an integer. Now let us move on to the format of writing a method in Java. The format is return type followed by the name of the method and the parameters within parentheses. This is followed by a pair of opening and closing braces within which the body of the method is present. The return type is the data type of the value which is sent by the method. If nothing is returned, we use void. The method in example 1 had a return type of void. The parameters are the data that is passed to the method. Multiple parameters are separated by commas. If there are no parameters, it is just left blank. The body of the method refers to the code inside the method. The body of the method has a return statement as the last line in case the method returns a value. If the method does not return a value, there is no return statement. So, why do we need methods in Java? If you observe, we have written a certain code inside the method and given a name to it. Thus, if we need to use the code at different places in our program, instead of just repeating the code, we can make use of the code which is already present in the method by using its name. Thus, the code in the method is written once and can be used many times whenever we need it. Also, using methods makes the code look more organized as each action is separated and written into methods. Thus, methods help improve code reusability. Let us have a look at what built-in methods in Java are. The Java language itself provides methods that can be used by the programmers when they need a certain functionality. These are called built-in methods. Until now, as a part of our examples, we have been using the line system.out.println to display any output. The println is the method that performs this task. The code to do this is written as part of the println method itself and is provided by Java to us. We as programmers can utilize the functionality which is already written inside. This is an example of a built-in method. We have reached the end of this lesson. To help us understand methods better, let us try to work two exercises. The first one is to write a method that accepts 3 integers as parameters and returns their sum. For this, we can try to use the second example as reference and try to write a method that accepts 3 parameters in place of 2 and returns their sum. Exercise 2 is to write a method that accepts 2 numbers and returns the smallest of those. For this exercise again, we can use the second example as reference and write a method that uses 2 parameters. But here, instead of returning their sum, we are going to return the smallest number. To summarize, as a part of this lesson, we have had a look at methods in Java and the format of writing a method. Alongside, we also discussed the need and the advantages of writing methods. As a part of next lesson, we will try to use methods and arrays together as an exercise. Thank you.